Have you ever stared into the eyes of someone you love, only to feel the chill of an unfamiliar shadow lurking behind their gaze, like the moment in Shakespeare's Hamlet when the prince questions the ghost of his father, whispering, "Art thou a spirit of health or goblin damned?" In episode 6 of The Summer Hikaru Died, released on August 9, 2025, the spectral doubt coils tighter around the heart of our story, mirroring those eternal human wrestlings with identity and loss, where the line between the living and the echoed blurs like fog on a summer mountain path. Imagine the sticky humidity of a rural Japanese evening clinging to your skin, the metallic tang of impending rain in the air, as whispers of the unknown seep into everyday laughter. This episode, nestled in the series' escalating arc of supernatural unease, plunges deeper into the fracture between what was and what mimics it, leaving me with a haunting intrigue that echoes the suspense of Hitchcock's Vertigo, a vertigo not of heights, but of souls. What if the one beside you isn't who they seem? The question hangs like a noose, drawing you inexorably closer, not to answers, but to the abyss of curiosity that demands you witness it yourself. Reader, can you feel that pull, that itch under your skin, urging you to step into the frame and unravel the enigma before it unravels you? Episode 6 unfolds like a quiet storm building over a sleepy village, picking up threads from the previous installment's revelations about hidden hauntings in the Tsujanaka household, echoing the domestic dread of The Shining, where family secrets fester like rot beneath polished floors. Here, the narrative shifts to a group gathering amid preparations for a choir competition, where casual banter veils mounting tension, much like the deceptive calm before the sharks strike in Jaws. Key events pivot around philosophical musings in a classroom, a sleepover laced with unspoken fears, and a confrontation that cracks open the facade of normalcy, transitioning the story from subtle unease to visceral peril. Picture yourself there, sprawled on tatami mats under flickering fireworks, the scent of grilled yakitori mingling with the earthy dampness of night, as laughter falters and eyes dart suspiciously. Yet I won't unveil the lightning strike that follows. Instead, let that suspense simmer. What hidden sense awakens in one character, threatening to expose the rot at the core? The episode propels the overarching mystery forward, hinting at origins tied to ancient impurities, but leaves you dangling on the edge, heart pounding, compelled to chase the next frame for resolution. Don't you wonder, as the credits tease more shadows, what price this knowledge exacts? This episode masterfully advances the main narrative by layering intellectual inquiry atop supernatural horror, much like how Inception weaves dreams within dreams to question reality. The plot kicks off with a classroom debate on the Swamp Man paradox, a philosophical riddle akin to Theseus's ship in ancient lore, pondering if a perfect replica retains the original's essence, which serves as a meta-commentary on the series' central imposter dilemma. Key revelations emerge during a group sleepover, where subtle tensions erupt into a chilling standoff, introducing a plot twist that nearly shatters alliances, while cliffhanging on a memory flashback that reframes past bonds. Pacing is deliberate, balancing slice-of-life serenity with horror spikes, reminiscent of the slow burn build in The Witch, ensuring dramatic equilibrium without overwhelming the viewer. Yet, fans often puzzle over cloudy aspects like the entity's true motivations. Why does it protect yet endanger? Drawing from the manga, Hikaru Gie Shinda Natsu, Chapter 6 and Environs, where Yashiki consults occult expert Ri Kurabayashi, we learn these impurities are amalgamations of departed souls and lingering emotions, not inherently malevolent but instinct-driven, inheriting memories without full emotional comprehension. This clarifies the episode's ambiguity. The entity's actions stem from the original Hikaru's protective urge toward Yashiki, but twisted by alien logic, much like Frankenstein's creature yearning for connection yet bound by monstrosity. Such context illuminates why the confrontation unfolds as it does, not as random aggression, but a conflicted mimicry of human loyalty, deepening the animated adaptation's fidelity while resolving fan debates on whether this replacement is redeemable or doomed. Central figures peel back layers like onions in a tearful kitchen scene from Ratatouille, revealing wounds that sting with authenticity. Yashiki, our anchor of quiet turmoil, grapples with loyalty's burden, his choices evolving from passive acceptance to active confrontation, surprising yet consistent, echoing the reluctant heroism of Frodo in The Lord of the Rings. His hidden grief manifests in hesitant glances, transforming him from observer to guardian. Hikaru, the enigmatic core, exposes psychological fissures. Motivated by inherited affections but perplexed by their depth, his dialogue shifts from playful to primal, hinting at growth through mimicry. Asako emerges as a pivotal force, her spiritual sensitivity uncovering vulnerabilities, her arc a transformative awakening akin to Clarice's in The Silence of the Lambs. From peripheral friend to imperiled truth seeker, her motivations rooted in empathy that borders on self-sacrifice. These developments feel organic, their surprises carving deeper emotional scars, leaving you to ponder. What would you risk to pierce the veil of a loved one's disguise? Beyond surface chills, the episode probes profound queries of identity and morality, manifesting as visceral struggles. Is continuity of form enough for personhood, or does the soul's absence render it hollow, like the hollow men in T.S. Eliot's poem? Power dynamics surface in protective instincts gone awry, echoing historical tales of golems in Jewish folklore. Creations meant to safeguard but spiraling into threats. Survival clashes with despair as characters weigh hope against the void. Their choice is a microcosm of humanity's dance with the unknown, much like Camus' absurd hero in the myth of Sisyphus, pushing boulders uphill only to question the point. Sacrifice looms large, not as grand gestures but quiet concessions, compelling you to reflect. In your own life, how far would you bend reality to preserve a bond? New lore enriches the universe with subtle expansions on impurities, echoed in manga details as ethereal accumulations from mountains, tied to village calamities like ancient curses in Japanese yokai tales. This complicates the rural idyll, transforming familiar settings into labyrinths of hidden histories, heightening immersion without info dumps, akin to how Spirited Away layers mundane with mythic. The script gleams with poetic sharpness, lines carrying the weight of unspoken horrors, foreshadowing like whispers in a confessional booth from The Godfather. Philosophical banter feels impactful, not cliched, resonating long after, like the swamp man's query lingering in your mind during a solitary walk, evoking historical debates from Socrates' cave. Imagine hearing those words in a humid classroom, the fans' hum underscoring tension. Is it the same, or just a shadow? It provokes, haunts, and beckons you deeper. Don't you crave to hear them yourself, to feel their echo in your chest? The art direction captivates with fluid transitions from pastoral warmth to eerie distortion, colors shifting from vibrant summer greens to shadowy indigos, symbolizing fractured identities like the fractured mirrors in Black Swan. Lighting plays coy, casting long shadows that swallow figures, while stillness in wide shots amplifies isolation. Movement erupts in frantic bursts, heightening emotional gut punches. These choices don't merely beautify, they embody the theme's duality, making beauty a harbinger of dread, as if you're wandering those dimly lit paths, the animation pulling you into its visceral grip. Camera angles tilt unnervingly during confrontations, low shots evoking vulnerability like in Psycho's shower scene, while rhythmic editing pulses with heartbeat urgency, mirroring inner chaos. Compositions frame characters in isolation amid crowds, amplifying tension, direction that doesn't just tell the story but breathes it into you, leaving a cinematic afterimage. The OST haunts like a spectral chorus, motifs of dissonant strings swelling to crescendos that sear memory, elevating quiet moments to symphonies of unease. Silence reigns supreme in pivotal beats, louder than any scream. Recall the cicadas and frogs in reviews, their chorus a natural veil over dread, akin to the ominous quiet before Gettysburg's charge. It treats sound as a character, wrapping you in its auditory web, making you lean in, ears straining for the next revelation. Standouts include Hikaru's VA, whose timbre trembles with alien innocence, embodying a soul adrift like Heath Ledger's Joker, intense, unpredictable. Yashiki's delivery conveys restrained anguish, a quiet tremor that pierces. Asako's performance spikes with raw fear, her intensity a lifeline to empathy. These voices don't just speak, they incarnate, drawing you into their emotional vortex. This episode scarred me with its raw ache, a cocktail of wonder and despair that left my pulse racing, much like the cathartic release in Titanic's sinking, hope flickering amid inevitable loss. It lingers, a philosophical echo urging introspection, pulling you toward the screen as if your own scars demand healing through its lens. Employing a reverse reading, one might fault the pacing for occasional lulls in slice-of-life segments. Yet these deliberate breaths heighten horror's impact, a stylistic choice mirroring life's deceptive normalcy. Complexity and philosophical undertones could opacity for some, but reframed, it invites active engagement, rewarding rewatches like Mulholland Drive. Measured critique. While dialogue shines, some exposition feels heavy-handed. Still, the opacity serves thematic opacity, balancing immersion with challenge. Episode 6 triumphs in blending horror with heart, its strengths in thematic depth, visual poetry, and character resonance outweighing minor pacing quibbles, succeeding as a narrative pivot that elevates the series. I anticipate its echoes rippling through future arcs. But tell me, as the screen fades to black on that unresolved gaze, like the final note of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata hanging in midnight air, can you resist stepping into this summer's shadow, where answers await not in words, but in the thrum of your own awakening curiosity? Watch and let it claim you. Have you ever stood at the precipice of a choice so raw it feels like plunging a knife into your own heart, echoing the fateful betrayal in Julius Caesar where Brutus whispers, "Et Brute," as loyalty fractures under the weight of truth? In episode 7 of the Summer Hikaru Died, released on August 16, 2025, this visceral act of determination slices unfolds through the series' intensifying arc of imposture and grief, much like the relentless tide eroding a coastal cliff in Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea, a battle against the inexorable pull of loss. Feel the salty spray of ocean waves misting your face, the gritty sand shifting underfoot, mingled with the acrid scent of unresolved fear, as whispers of doubt crescendo into a symphony of confrontation. This installment, surging forward from the shadows of prior revelations, left me breathless with its audacious pivot, a tantalizing glimpse into the abyss of self-sacrifice where identities merge like ink bleeding into water. Reader, imagine the cold steel of decision in your grip, the tremor of uncertainty vibrating through your bones. Doesn't it beckon you to dive in, to chase the enigma that promises not just answers, but a transformation of your own soul? Episode 7 erupts like the climactic duel in Romeo and Juliet, where impulsive actions seal fates, building directly on the previous episode's harrowing standoff that left alliances teetering on the edge of oblivion. Here, the narrative veers into a day of truancy amid lingering anxieties, evoking the rebellious escape in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but laced with supernatural dread. Conversations by the sea, a shocking act of intervention, and a bond-altering exchange that propels the story toward uncharted depths. Envision yourself there, the crash of waves drowning out hesitant words, the sun-warmed rocks pressing against your palms as tension coils like a spring, only to release in a moment that redefines everything. Yet, I hold back the full torrent. What emerges from this intimate clash, this merging of essences? The episode transitions the arc from passive horror to active pursuit, dangling a cliffhanger that mirrors the suspense of The Empire Strikes Back's revelation, leaving your pulse racing, your mind ablaze with questions that demand you press play to quench the fire. Can you resist that siren call, the itch to uncover what lies beneath the surface? This episode catapults the narrative forward with the precision of a well-aimed arrow in the Hunger Games, advancing the core mystery through a pivotal act of confrontation that unveils the entity's adaptive nature, culminating in a twist where boundaries dissolve in a literal sharing of self. Key revelations peel back layers on the imposter's instincts, while the plot twist, a deliberate wounding that binds rather than severs, creates a cliffhanger echoing the symbiotic horrors of venom, hinting at irreversible consequences. Pacing strikes a masterful balance, starting with introspective lulls that build to frenetic intensity, ensuring dramatic equilibrium without rushing the emotional beats, much like the deliberate tempo in Parasite's escalating revelations. Fans often grapple with cloudy aspects like the implications of this merging. Does it corrupt or redeem? Drawing from the manga, Hikaru Died Shinda Natsu chapters 8 to 9, where Yashiki's stab exposes the entity's amorphous essence, we learn these impurities can fragment and integrate, forging a psychic link that amplifies shared memories but risks mutual annihilation if one falters. This contextualizes the animated scene's ambiguity. The act isn't mere violence but a desperate bid for understanding, resolving debates on whether the bond elevates friendship to something transcendent or dooms it to monstrosity, providing a richer lens on the adaptation's faithful yet amplified tension. The central duo unveils psychological depths akin to the fractured psyches in Fight Club, their hidden wounds festering into transformative growth. Yashiki, tormented by grief's barbs, evolves from hesitant observer to resolute actor. His choices, surprising in their ferocity yet consistent with buried rage, mark a psychological breakthrough, revealing motivations rooted in possessive love that surprises even him. Hikaru, the enigmatic mimic, exposes vulnerabilities through anxious pleas, his growth manifesting as a poignant mimicry of human devotion, transformative in its willingness to fracture for connection. Their dialogue, laced with tremor, feels organic, carving paths from denial to uneasy alliance, leaving you to question. In the mirror of their scars, what reflections of your own unresolved pains do you see? Profound inquiries into identity and sacrifice permeate like the existential voids in Kafka's The Metamorphosis, manifesting in Yashiki's struggle to reclaim agency amid despair. Where morality bends under survival's weight, does embracing the monstrous preserve hope or invite ruin? Power dynamics echo historical pacts like Faust's bargain, as characters barter pieces of self for truth, pitting hope against the abyss in choices that evoke humanity's perennial dance with the unknown, much like Nietzsche's gaze into the void. Survival demands moral ambiguity, their plight's a canvas for your own reflections. How much of yourself would you surrender to salvage a shadow of what was lost? Fresh lore on the impurity's malleability, fragmenting like ancient myths of golems dividing, complicates the universe, enriching the rural backdrop with layers of permeable boundaries between human and otherworldly, heightening stakes without overwhelming, akin to how Pan's Labyrinth weaves fantasy into folklore. The script wields words like a scalpel in Grey's Anatomy's tenser scenes, sharp and poetic, with lines that foreshadow doom while resonating like echoes in an empty hall. Let's figure out what the hell you are, carrying the weight of historical ultimatums, such as Lincoln's House Divided. Imagine uttering them under a vast sky, the wind carrying your voice like a challenge to fate, impactful and free of cliché, lingering post-credits to provoke endless rumination. Doesn't that cadence pull you in, whispering secrets that beg to be heard in full? Art direction fluidly shifts from serene blues of seaside tranquility to grotesque distortions in crimson hues, symbolizing fractured identities like the melting clocks in Dali's The Persistence of Memory. Lighting employs stark contrasts, shadows devouring forms in moments of doubt, stillness yielding to chaotic movement, shaping emotional impact where beauty signifies fragility, not solace, immersing you in a visual poetry that claws at the soul. Camera angles plunge into intimate close-ups during revelations, low perspectives amplifying vulnerability like in The Godfather's power plays, while editing rhythms pulse with erratic cuts that mirror unraveling sanity, composing shots that trap characters in frames of isolation, heightening tension to a fever pitch that resonates in your chest. The OST emerges as a spectral companion, haunting motifs crescendoing into dissonant swells that etch into memory, elevating anguish to operatic heights. A special duet ending song transforms a choral piece into a poignant lament, its harmonies burning like the final notes in Requiem for a Dream. Silence, in key beats, roars louder than chaos, akin to the pregnant pauses before Verdun's artillery, drawing you into its void. Standout performances breathe life. Yashiki's VA infuses timbre with quivering resolve, embodying a soul on the brink. Hikaru's delivery tremors with alien yearning, intensity capturing a fractured essence like Joaquin Phoenix's in Joker. These voices don't merely convey, they incarnate turmoil, pulling you into their emotional maelstrom. This episode gouged me with a profound ache, blending wonder at human resilience with scars of inevitable loss, much like the poignant farewell in Casablanca, hope flickering amid heartbreak. Pivotal moments collide as destinies entwine in a breaking point that shatters illusions, shifting the narrative's gravity forever. It stirred universal queries. What fragments of self do we offer for connection, echoing historical sacrifices like those in the trenches of World War I? I felt the sting of betrayal's blade, the spark of defiant unity, leaving philosophical echoes that haunt. Haven't you ever faced a mirror, questioning the stranger staring back, yearning to pierce the veil? The suspense coils around you, an invisible thread tugging toward the screen, where answers await in the depths of your own curiosity. Reverse reading reveals potential flaws like deliberate opacity in philosophical exchanges, which might confound, yet reframes as thematic intent, fostering viewer investment akin to Inception's layers. Pacing's intensity could overwhelm, but it mirrors emotional turbulence, a stylistic triumph. Balanced critique. While visuals stun, some transitions feel abrupt. Still, the complexity enhances rewatchability, tipping appreciation over minor gripes. Episode 7 excels in narrative boldness, emotional depth, and artistic flair, its weaknesses mere shadows to its luminous strengths, triumphing in goals of horror-infused introspection. I anticipate its ripples reshaping the series. But as the duet fades into silence, like the lingering hum of a battlefield ceasefire, can you turn away, or must you plunge into the summer's depths, where the next revelation isn't just a story, but the key